Here are two groups of people. In Group A, there are wealthy investors in a business meeting talking about their investment plans. In Group B, there are homeless people. If you have the option to join one of the groups, which group would you choose? Choosing Group A seems like a more wise decision. If you join Group A, you're surrounded by people who you feel are better than you, and you feel like they could perhaps lead you to success. The reason behind not choosing Group B seems quite obvious. It's not only that there won't be anything useful or monetary to learn, but you just don't want to be treated the same way as they are treated. These days, it is crazy how much your success depends on whom you interact with. Sure, it would be great if you could be friends with the world's most influential figures such as Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, but that's not really the case for most people. Nowadays, it seems that the pure nature of human relationships has been contaminated by greed and resentment. We put a tremendous amount of effort into holding on to relationships that we're often so stressed about, and this is really how we slowly start to understand the tragic side of relationships. Today, through Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, we wish to understand the truth behind human relationships. Dale Carnegie's most emphasized rule when forming relationships is to never criticize, condemn, or complain. To better understand this rule, let's take a look at the great wisdom of Abraham Lincoln. Carnegie writes that Lincoln was actually pretty famous for provoking others in his early years. However, things got pretty serious when he picked on the wrong target, a not-so-friendly rich politician, James Shields. Shields challenged Lincoln to a duel, and the two fought to the brink of death before being interrupted by a couple witnesses. Afterwards, Lincoln learned an important lesson, and he tried not to criticize anyone for anything from then on. In the famous Battle of Gettysburg, the Northern States were on the verge of winning the Civil War when the Commander-in-Chief of the Northern States, George Gordon Meade, cornered the Southern Army in the Potomac River. It was a chance to finish the war, and Lincoln was well aware of this. He commanded Meade to attack immediately. Commander Meade, however, made a different call, and he decided to let the Southern Army escape. Lincoln was furious, and he immediately started writing the following letter. Meade never received the letter because Lincoln never actually sent it. Lincoln knew that criticizing him would only harm his relationship with the commander. Recognizing the great prudence of Lincoln, even United States former President Theodore Roosevelt said he would oftentimes look up at a portrait of Lincoln hanging right next to his office desk and ask himself, what would Lincoln do if he was in my position? We criticize or complain about someone someday. We all do. We love to win debates, point out gaping holes in others' arguments, and say someone's crazy because we all love to prove the fact that we're more wise, smart, intelligent, or whatever word you want to use to describe your superiority. But every time that happens, let's try to turn on the Lincoln mindset and control our emotions. Let's try to understand and forgive others. By doing this, we will be able to naturally develop empathy, tolerance, and kindness, and ultimately become a truly wonderful person that we all aspire to be. The second rule is that in order to change or influence a person, you must give honest and sincere appreciation. Every individual aspires to be an important person. Isn't that what we do throughout life? We all strive for that important person feeling by achieving things and wishing them to be recognized by people around us. Elon Musk started Tesla because he wanted to be an important person. George Washington wanted to be called Mr. President of the United States because he wanted to be an important person. We're delighted whenever someone compliments us because then we feel important. Everyone, including myself, wants to be someone special. But you and I can probably agree that we live in a tough world full of competition and hatred. Carnegie pleads us to let others know that they are important. Simply help each other, and that's when they will let your words sink in and actually seek for a change. The third and final rule that Dale Carnegie emphasizes in this book is to admit you're wrong quickly and emphatically. One day, Carnegie was walking his dog in a park without a muzzle. When he was caught by an officer, Carnegie decided to approach the officer first and admit that he was wrong and make zero excuse about it. The officer's reaction was surprising. Instead of criticizing Carnegie, he started to admit that even if it was for him, he'll want his dog to play around the park without having to wear a muzzle. He even told Carnegie that they were taking this matter too seriously and eventually let him go. What happened? Carnegie realized that the police officer was, after all, a human being, and just like others, he wanted to be an important person. When Carnegie started to criticize himself for what he did, the officer started to express concern and show generosity. After all, what else could you do to a person who admits that he is wrong and attempts to make up for his mistake? We make more mistakes than we think in our daily life, and we always try to find excuses or justify our actions. Dale Carnegie counters this in a very honest manner. Admit you're wrong, and you give yourself a chance to improve on your mistakes. What makes this book so special is that it becomes a manual for daily interaction with people. I can refer back to it every day to reflect back on my day. By doing this, I start to recognize the mistakes that I made throughout my days, and I allow myself to improve. In today's world, how you take control of your relationships with people has become so important to the point that it may even completely change your life. Will you conquer human relationships or let them conquer you?